Fasting works, cardio works, cutting calories works, but almost nobody tells you that your body has at least 5 other switches that trigger fat burning, and none of them involve skipping a meal, lacing up running shoes, or counting a single calorie. Some of them are things you're already doing every day, just not enough of. Others are happening right now, quietly working against you without you realizing it. Today we're going through exactly what those switches are, the actual biology behind why they work, and how to flip each one without touching your diet or your workout routine at all. Let's start with the biggest one, because it's also the most misunderstood. The energy you burn just moving through a normal day, completely outside of exercise. It's called NEAT, non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, and it covers everything from walking to the kitchen, fidgeting at your desk, standing instead of sitting, carrying groceries, even the small postural adjustments your body makes throughout the day. Researchers who've measured this precisely have found something remarkable. For most people, NEAT accounts for a larger share of daily calorie burn than deliberate exercise does. In some studies, the gap between a naturally fidgety, active throughout the day person and a naturally still person amounted to several hundred calories daily, without either of them doing a single formal workout. Here's what makes this such a powerful lever. NEAT drops automatically and unconsciously the moment you start restricting calories or increasing formal exercise, almost like your body is trying to protect its energy budget. This is one of the most underappreciated reasons diets stop working over time. People add a structured workout, and their body quietly compensates by making them move less throughout the rest of the day, without them ever noticing they're doing it. Which means the reverse is also true. Without touching diet or formal exercise, simply and deliberately protecting your NEAT, taking calls standing up, parking further away, choosing stairs, creates a fat-burning effect that doesn't trigger the same compensatory shutdown that structured exercise often does. The second switch is temperature. Your body has a specific type of fat called brown adipose tissue that behaves completely differently from the white fat you're used to hearing about. White fat stores energy. Brown fat burns it directly to generate heat through a process called thermogenesis. Every adult has some brown fat, concentrated mainly around the neck, shoulders, and upper back, and its activity increases sharply in response to mild cold exposure. Not dangerous or extreme cold, just cool enough to make your body work slightly to maintain its core temperature. Studies exposing participants to mild cold, around 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit for a few hours a day, have shown measurable increases in brown fat activity and daily energy expenditure within just a couple of weeks, entirely separate from diet or exercise. This is part of the actual mechanism behind why something as simple as keeping your home slightly cooler or ending a shower with 30 seconds of cold water produces a real, measurable, metabolic effect. It's not a folk remedy, it's a specific tissue responding to a specific thermal signal. The third switch is one almost nobody associates with fat burning at all: muscle activation, completely separate from formal training. When a muscle contracts, even briefly, even without any added resistance, it releases a class of signaling molecules called myokines directly into your bloodstream. Some of these myokines have been shown to directly increase fat oxidation in other tissues, essentially turning your muscle into a signaling organ that tells the rest of your body to shift toward burning fat, independent of how many calories that muscle contraction actually used. This is why research on interrupting long periods of sitting with brief, simple movement, standing up and doing a couple minutes of body weight movement every 30 to 60 minutes, has shown measurable improvements in fat metabolism markers over the course of a day, even in people whose total daily activity and calorie intake stayed exactly the same. It's not about the movement burning meaningful calories in the moment. It's about the myokine signal that movement sends. The fourth switch is sleep, but specifically through a mechanism most people have never connected to fat burning directly: cortisol and insulin working against each other. Poor or shortened sleep raises cortisol, and elevated cortisol does two things that directly suppress fat burning. First, it promotes the storage of fat, particularly in the visceral region, by increasing the activity of an enzyme that regenerates active cortisol inside fat tissue itself. Second, chronically elevated cortisol reduces insulin sensitivity, and since insulin directly suppresses the enzyme responsible for releasing stored fat, hormone-sensitive lipase, reduced insulin sensitivity paradoxically means insulin stays elevated for longer after meals, keeping that fat-releasing enzyme suppressed for a longer stretch of the day than it would be with healthy sleep. None of this requires changing what you eat. Studies isolating sleep as the single variable, keeping calorie intake identical between groups and only changing sleep duration, have found that participants getting less sleep burned meaningfully less fat and more muscle for the exact same weight lost, purely as a downstream effect of this cortisol-insulin relationship. The fifth switch is about sequence, not quantity. The order you eat food in, not how much of it or when. This one surprises people the most because it doesn't touch calories at all. Research on meal sequencing has found that eating fiber and protein before carbohydrates in the same meal, rather than eating everything together or carbs first, produces a significantly smaller blood sugar spike after the meal, even when the total calories and macronutrients are completely identical. A smaller blood sugar spike means a smaller insulin response. And since insulin is the primary hormone blocking fat release after a meal, a blunted insulin spike means your body spends less time in fat storage mode and returns to fat accessible mode faster after eating. This is purely a sequencing effect. Same food, same calories, same person, different order, measurably different metabolic outcome. What ties all 5 of these together is worth pointing out directly, because it changes how you should think about fat loss altogether. None of these switches work by creating a large, dramatic calorie deficit the way fasting or cardio do. They work by removing small, chronic breaks your body has been quietly applying, a suppressed NEAT response, an underused thermogenic tissue, muscles sitting idle for hours at a time, cortisol staying elevated from bad sleep, and insulin spiking higher than it needs to from meal sequencing. Individually, each of these seems minor. But because they operate continuously, all day, every day, their combined effect over weeks and months rivals, and in some research, exceeds what people expect from a single hour of formal cardio. There's a reason this matters more than it might seem to at first. Fasting and cardio and dieting all share a common weakness. They're effortful, time-limited interventions that are easy to abandon under stress, a busy schedule, or simple burnout. The 5 switches we just covered are almost entirely structural, changes to your environment and daily patterns rather than acts of willpower repeated every single day. Keeping your home slightly cooler doesn't require discipline once it's set. Standing up every 30 minutes becomes automatic within a couple of weeks. Eating vegetables before carbs at a meal takes 0 extra time or cost. This is likely a big part of why these mechanisms, once put in place, tend to produce more durable results over the long run than approaches that rely on sustained daily effort. Not because they're more powerful in any single moment, but because they don't depend on motivation holding up over months. If you wanted to combine all 5 into a realistic daily pattern, it would look something like this. Keeping your living space a few degrees cooler than you're used to, especially while you sleep. Standing or taking a short movement, break roughly every half hour instead of sitting for hours straight. Prioritizing consistent, high-quality sleep as seriously as you'd treat a workout. Eating protein and vegetables before the carbohydrate portion of a meal without changing what's actually on the plate, and treating everyday incidental movement, walking, stairs, carrying things, as valuable rather than something to minimize in favor of a single formal workout later in the day. None of this replaces fasting, cardio, or calorie management if those are tools you want to use. They're not mutually exclusive, and combining approaches typically produces the best outcomes of all. But if you've ever felt like you needed to earn fat loss through suffering, through hunger, through exhausting workouts, through obsessive tracking, this is the part worth remembering. Your body has been running fat-burning machinery this entire time that has nothing to do with any of that. Most people just never turned it on. If this changed how you think about what actually triggers fat burning, subscribe for more breakdowns of the real mechanisms behind your body, not the surface-level advice, the biology actually running